Hey everybody, it's Daniel Harms back with the RJR Football Channel on YouTube. Today we're going to get into another one of my now famous rants because I can't get over some things that I have to defend in terms of we're going to start at Lucas Niang, so just wait on that. I want to start this video off by saying how incredibly impressed I am with the quality of these all juice shirts, team shirts, by the way, that support the Therese Paylor Foundation. The whole um, scholarship fund is doing a really, really great job right now. And I would hope that if you guys have a little bit of extra money to go help support that, one, the shirt's great and it's for a great cause. We all, love Therese. So I really hope that you guys have done it. If you haven't, you can go ahead. If you can't, I definitely understand that. But it's a great shirt. It's a great cause. And rest in peace, Therese. We love you and we miss you. So that said, we're going to get into right off the top because this weekend, if you guys follow me on Twitter at In Harm's Way 19, you can find the entire thread of where some Chiefs insider, as he likes to call himself, is saying that Lucas Niang reported completely overweight, out of shape, which is 100% not true, especially after I talked to Brett Yaris, his Lucas Niang's trainer, and I took one of the screenshots of something he'd said on Twitter to Arrowhead Live, who's just another fan site thing. Just the simple fact of you want to acknowledge that yes, he's been working with the trainer for this exact same guy for the last 6 years, and he comes out saying that he's in shape. He's in better shape than about the same shape he was when he was drafted. And then Andy Reid comes out, says he was in better shape than he was when he was drafted. He's been doing great work here. And my Saturday was kind of devoted to trying to negate this nonsense that Lucas Niang is out of shape because of a 1 minute. It wasn't even 1 minute. It was probably like 30-second clip of him running. He wasn't even running. He was just jogging because it was just a warm up. You didn't get to see him actually do much of anything. And what you did see, he was actually good. He moved well and he was doing a lot of things that you would expect him to do. And we all, guys like myself, loved Quinn Miners coming out, and he robustly shows his gut. He wears a crop top. Like, this is a ridiculous thing that we have gotten into with saying that a player is 100% out of shape when, one, he's an offensive lineman. He's 330 plus pounds. Maybe he's a little bit less than that now, but these guys are just big. They're just going to be big. They didn't get on players like defensive tackles that literally do nothing but stick. Their job is to plug up gaps, and all they have to be is large. Now, Lucas Niang's footwork, as we've shown multiple times, is great. He's a big ballerina. The dude can do a lot of different things that tackles can't do at his size. And yeah, he's got a little bit of gut. Who cares? The guy can come in, he can move, he can be a mauler in the run game if he wants to. He can get out and he can pull and he can do all these things. And you have multiple people, his trainer, most importantly, who's been working with him day in and day out for the last 6 years, come out and say he's in shape, he's fine. But no, 30 seconds on this video with the gut shows you 100% infallible that he is out of shape. I'll never understand it. And that's why when stuff like this happens, typically, if I have questions, concerns, I will go to Ryan. I don't go to a insider who's no longer an insider, by the way, in case you guys didn't know. The guy does not have credible information multiple times. Like, this is another thing. He just speculates on things and throws stuff at a wall, hopes it sticks. This is a ton of people on YouTube, or excuse me, on Twitter, throw things at a wall and hope that it sticks. Just kind of try to bring yourself back a little bit with these things on Twitter. I do what I can to give you guys as much information as I know. That's not a whole lot in terms of having connections inside the Chiefs program. I don't have any, but I know that Ryan does. So when I have questions about that, I try to go to him and get my information directly to try to give to you people, because he's not as active on Twitter as I am, and I try to do that for you. So again, I know that I'm going to be wrong about some things, and I've been very open about not caring about being wrong, and I'll come out and say when I've been wrong. So initially, I was like, I would have liked Niang to come in a little bit less, a little bit lighter. I think that that's a reasonable excuse. But when I watched the video, I talked to Brett, I talked to to Ryan, and then I watched a little bit more to see him in actual drills and stuff. The dude looks fine. And then Andy Reid comes out and says that he's in great shape. And now this whole thing is just kind of been blown out of proportion because someone wants to report something that isn't true. I'm just, it really steams me. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That kind of stuff gets to me in a way that not a lot of things can. And Lucas Niang is going to be a very good tackle in this league, and I can't wait to see him with gut and all just come out here and blow people off the ball, protect Patrick Mahomes for a long time. I'm very excited to see that. One other thing I promised you guys for this rant video is we're going to talk about Urban Meyer because I'm gonna level with you guys. What is going on in Jacksonville? There's three things that we'll mention. There's more I can guarantee you, but there's three things that we want to talk about. He brought in I can't exactly remember. I think it was the ex conditioning weight training conditioning coach from Iowa who had a checkered, very lenient to say, background, and then he was fired the next day after multiple things came out when Urban, I guarantee you, knew about them. This is not unlike Urban Meyer, and he's continuing to do everything that he did as a college head coach and doing it in the NFL. First thing, he took guys like Curtis Samuel and turned them into wide receiver weapons in college. Now, I like Curtis Samuel as a wide receiver because he was taught the position at college, and he can do a lot of things as a running back. So it makes a little bit of sense. He's a little bit leaner, and he can get in and out of his cuts very well. I think that he's got very good vision. So using him as a multi-use tool in the NFL from college into the NFL makes sense. So this whole thing about drafting Travis Etienne and saying you want him to play wide receiver, that doesn't really work for the most part because one, he didn't have any reps as a wide receiver in college. He wasn't ever asked to train as a wide receiver. And when you're teaching a guy who's essentially what he is now, he's a running back, to be a completely different position, that typically won't work. Now, obviously, if you're just trying to get him comfortable with the idea of playing out of the slot, okay, that's okay. But again, the Jaguars have James Robinson as their running back, like undrafted free agent last year, put up a ton of yards, over 1,300, scrimmage yards, did a lot of things. He's a much better pass catcher than Travis Etienne is actually, and he's got much better vision. He doesn't have the top end speed, obviously, but the dude's a bowling ball in the sense that he's going to run guys over and he's going to get yards. He can get into the open. He's got good burst, and he's got very, very good hands and route running ability. And I hate to break it to Travis Etienne lovers out there, but his vision's not very good. And he gets taken down in the open field more than any running back I saw in this class. Like, he just gets tripped up. He's not a very natural pass catcher. So if they're just trying to work him into making more of a third down role kind of guy where he can come in and be an actual weapon out of the backfield, that makes sense. But if you want to play him as a wide receiver, you're doing this all wrong. And Urban's going to be out of the league in like 2 years, maybe. I mean, maybe sooner, depending on what happens. But this whole, bringing in Tim Tebow thing, it's a joke because he's not a player. Like, he's not an NFL player. He's not a baseball player. He's not an NFL player. He's essentially there for inspiration. I don't know, but at this point, it's just a distraction because you're allowing him now to come in and do a lot of things that he did the first time he went with the NFL. And if you've listened to anything about what Tim Tebow has caused in terms of distractions, and I don't have any issues with Tim Tebow as a person. He's a great guy, but the reality of the situation is that he creates distractions, and he's not going to play in the NFL because he's not built to play in the NFL. Now, if he had come out, made the transition to tight end like he probably should have because he's not a very good quarterback, okay, that's one thing. But he went from quarterback to being like a wildcat quarterback / whatever they did in, with the Jets and with the Patriots and even at times with the Eagles, I think. And then he goes to play baseball, and now he couldn't make it in baseball. Good for you for going out and doing what you think you can do. But now you're back in the NFL. Almost. I'm not sure if he's actually been signed at this point yet, but I know they're talking about it. Urban's kind of playing coy with that. I was never at the workout, but you open this up because you want him back. He's a guy that played for you, and you love Tim Tebow, so you want him on the roster. Basically, so you can have someone to talk to. I think that's really what it is, just to have someone there and to make you more comfortable. You know what? You do you, Urban, because I think you're going to absolutely drive that organization to the ground more so than it already is, and you're going to be out of the league in a couple years. So Urban Meyer really gets me going too. So I think that I'm going to go off of that one here. And just to do something else here, I'm actually a pretty big DFS player. That's daily fantasy sports for any that don't know. And you can play that just about anywhere in the country right now, including Missouri. But one thing you can't do is sports bet. And while this may not be a huge issue for a lot of you, you can just kind of turn off for a second because I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. I just want to be able to make some bets on sports because I like playing DFS. And if it's you're already kind of gambling money with daily fantasy sports, so why can't you gamble on the games themselves? This is exactly what you're doing. It's just a different format. So can we get this law passed so that I can gamble a little bit here on some Chiefs games because I'm going to win some money on some Chiefs games. I can tell you that much for an absolute fact. And I really am enjoying golf, and I would like to be able to, bet some golf tournaments here and there because it's been a very fun experience that I've, really enjoyed over the last year that I've been playing more DFS golf and getting, knowing more about just golf in and of itself, the players and the tournaments and everywhere they go. It's actually a lot of fun. So it's helped me get into golf more as a person. I can honestly tell you guys that I really enjoy it, and it's actually made me want to actually golf. So that's actually been a pretty cool experience. But again, I just want to be able to sports bet in Missouri. So now that I moved here, I thought I'd be able to, but now I can't. I couldn't do it in Nebraska. I can't do it here. So I just want to get that going on the table here. So you guys are listening, anybody that has any power to be able to do that, please help me out. I know I was just one person, but I guarantee you there's a lot more than just me out there that want to. Now, on to the next thing, because it's one of the most maddening, hilarious things that I've ever heard. And obviously, we all know that Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach, is a crazy guy. He wants to bite some kneecaps off. But now he's talking about doing something that actually would get that done in bringing a pet lion to camp. Like, he wants to bring a pet lion. He wants to have a pet lion, to have him at camp for whatever reason, because that's not a crazy idea at all. This guy is either going to be the greatest coach the Lions have ever seen, or he's going to flame out in half a year. There's almost no in between with this guy. I can't get around what he thinks he's doing by trying to bring back an older mentality to just make everyone tough physical players. Like, the game has changed, for one. You can't just go around lopping people's heads off, over the middle. You can't do any of that stuff anymore. So, one, I understand the mentality of trying to be this tough guy, but in the same breath, you have to understand that game is different. Players aren't going to respond to that the same way they did back then, and I think that a lot of them may find you a little crazy. And I'm just going to say they should have drafted Justin Fields. Yeah, you got Jared Goff. Whoop-de-doo there. That guy's a average quarterback in the NFL to below average, in my opinion. And if you think you're gonna, be bad this year and get your quarterback next year, guess what? Justin Fields is better than any quarterback's going to be in the draft next year. Maybe Spencer Rattler will be better than him. Excuse me, but you're betting you're getting the number one pick because he's going to go number one overall. He's the most talented quarterback in that draft. And let me tell you guys, Sam Howell is not it. He's Baker Mayfield 2.0. That's what he is. So why are you I get drafted Penny Sewell. Don't get me wrong. I get it. Trust me, as a Chiefs fan, as we all Chiefs fans, Penny Sewell was like the dream. Let's have him fall all the way down the draft and have the Chiefs go get him. But instead, they go trade for Orlando Brown. And now the Lions are sitting there at 7 with Penny Sewell in their lap, but they also have a chance to get the quarterback. They should have done it. Dan Campbell is gambling a little bit with trying to get a quarterback next year, because I can tell you right now, Jared Goff's not it. You don't have a quarterback on your roster that's going to be there for the next 5, 6, 7 years. They don't. And I don't think they're going to get it next year. Because the problem is, you bring in an experienced quarterback, even though Goff isn't a very good one, guess what? He's going to win you 4 to 5 games. I guarantee you he's going to win 4 to 5 games. Then what happens? You're not going to get the number one pick, and you're not going to get the quarterback you want. Because if you end up having to trade up to get him, that's going to make things complicated, because you had the opportunity last year to get the quarterback for the future. The Bears saw the opportunity. They traded up and got their guy. Yeah, they probably should have bought Matt Nagy another 2 years there because they had no other choice and they needed to make a move. But the Lions sat there, took Penny Sewell. Now you have Jared Goff. Like, this whole thing with what Dan Campbell thinks he's doing, I don't really understand it. Now, This could be a Joe Judge situation. Joe Judge was like a nobody coming in to coach the Giants. And then he comes in. The defense actually plays really, really well. And they surprise some people. They surprised me. The offense is still lacking. It's got some issues. But again, look who the offensive coordinator is, Jason Garrett. It's not going to be very exciting. It's going to be very vanilla. So I'm hoping they take a jump in this next year, because I think Daniel Jones is pretty good. He has a lot of tools that I like, but it's neither here nor there. Dan Campbell's going to flame out, or he's going to be the best coach ever. And I can't tell you which one it is going to be yet, because I'm trying so hard to figure out what has to go up inside your head to say, you know what, let's bring a pet lion to camp, to practices, because that makes a whole lot of sense. That's how you really get kneecaps bitten off, man. That's what happens. It's what happens. So we're going to end this one today with a little bit of Tyrann Matthieu talk. Now, I know that he had that tweet about he's probably not getting his extension, but again, we all take Twitter a little too seriously at times. And I think that Matthieu may have gotten in his own head a little bit with the responses that he's seen about he's not getting an extension. Why is the extension taking so long? Maybe he got a little bit frustrated with people and things something just spill out. That's why he deleted it. I think he saw, what he was doing on Twitter. He's one of the more active Chiefs on Twitter. He has been known to get a little heated at times with the people and responses and get a little quick to the trigger. So in the great words of, Herm Edwards, just don't press send, guys. Just don't press send sometimes. And you realize it in the middle of your tweet, right? Like right when you hit that tweet button, guess what? He's like, all right, I should have deleted it. And unfortunately, people always get the screen grabs of it. That's just how it works. You're able to do that with this times now, because it doesn't always go away immediately. But I think we need to cool the jets a little bit on the Matthieu stuff. Veach himself has said multiple times, actually, in a press conference, that they haven't talked to him and they didn't plan to until June, July timeframe. This is the same kind of stuff that happened with Chris Jones. He was going to get traded before the draft. He was going to get traded during the draft. Comes out, they sign the extension after the offseason, after the draft, and everything like that. So we need to let this play out a little bit, because Matthieu, not only is he like one of the true leaders of this team, he's the lifeblood of the defense. You don't take that guy off the field and trade him or not and just letting him walk. Like, this is the last year of his contract. You think the Chiefs are going to, one, let him walk, two, not want to re-sign him? That doesn't make any sense. So I think he had a little bit of an emotional response. Yes, it happens. We all get that way. And we need to take it a little bit, a little lower on him, because I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be on this Chiefs team probably until he retires, at least not until he gets his next contract. I do think he's going to get that next contract. And they're going to probably make him the highest paid safety in the NFL. They might have to. And again, they're probably waiting to see what the cap's going to end up looking like in terms of projections. They're probably going to have more projections July-ish, I would think. So again, take a little breath. Let's take a little breath and stay down, relax a little bit, because not only are these rants good for me to getting out some of my frustrations, I'm hoping that you guys listen to it, you have fun, and we all just kind of take a breath and relax a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to do this more often. Again, I appreciate the support. I love that you guys love these. It helps me out a lot, because I get a lot of things that get in my head and my frustrating process that I need to alleviate. So this is an area that I can do that. So I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart very much, and I hope you have a great day. Go Chiefs. And we're almost at the season. Like, it's May. Yes, it's May, but like, it's coming right around. The training camp is almost here, and I can't wait to see some of you guys.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.